Hey, welcome bass anglers. Are you looking for a different way to catch shallow fish using your forward-facing sonar? Well, stick around today. We've got some tools that aren't the norm that will help you catch fish shallow using your forward-facing sonar. So everybody knows that a jerkbait is a tool that you can use to target fish and to see them on your forward-facing sonar and then be able to kill the bait in front of them. But today we're going to talk about a different bait. So that bait that we're going to talk about is a suspending lipless crankbait. And a lipless crankbait works great in cold water, it works great in shallow water. It works great on hard bottoms, and it works great over weeds. And so can you use forward-facing sonar with a lipless crankbait? The normal lipless crankbait, that action is happening so fast, most people that are throwing a lipless crankbait aren't using forward-facing electronics. They're just chucking and winding. And they're banging it into the bottom and they're ripping it free from the grass and they're doing all kinds of things. But the standard lipless crankbait isn't what I'm talking about today. I'm going to talk about the suspending lipless crankbait, which is a relatively new bait out on the market, and I'm going to talk to you about two of them. And the benefit of the suspending lipless crankbait is you get all the benefits of the lipless crankbait, the vibration, the action, the killing it, but you also get the suspending nature of it like you get with the jerkbait. And so these two brands that I'm going to talk about today, I'm going to talk about the IMA Suspending Vibe 70, and I'm going to talk about the 6th Sense Quake 80. And both are unique baits that need to be in your arsenal when everybody else is throwing a jerkbait, and you can use and utilize your forward-facing sonar. Let's talk a little bit about forward-facing sonar first. You can use it in two ways to set up how we're going to use each of these style baits. The first one is in perspective mode. If you're actually seeing beds and seeing fish on beds, you can use your forward facing in perspective mode, and then you can target and see the distances and the position of those beds, and you can actually throw out these lipless crankbaits, these suspending lipless crankbaits, and rip them over the top of those beds and then kill them right over the top of the bed. Kill it. And it'll suspend at the depths that each bait are capable of, and you can actually target those fish on those beds if that's what you're fishing. The other way is still looking in your forward-facing mode and fishing over grass, and you can see this, get it set up so that it's shallow enough to see the setup, and you can kill this bait over the top of grass, and you can see the bait and see the fish actually tracking the bait and be able to kill this thing in front of them, and then entice with subtle movements, be able to entice that strike. So two unique ways to use it. So let's talk about each of the baits. First, we'll talk about the IMA Suspending Vibe 70. And on both of these baits, again, I've replaced the hooks with my KVD Mustad triple grip hooks because they're the best hard bait hook. And you'll have to check out another video I've got at the end of this video on those hooks, but it's absolutely second to none, second nature to take the hooks off and put good hooks on. And the KVD Mustad Ultra Point are the best hard bait hooks. No other hard bait hook is worth it, no matter what anybody tells you. So back to this. This IMA has got a unique bait fish profile, right? And it comes in some nice colors, and I've gotten a couple of, I've got a bait fish color, and then I've got what I like is a bluegill color here, because the bait fish and the bluegill, if I'm around beds, I like the bluegill. Otherwise, if I'm over grass or whatever, bluegill or bait fish, whichever they prefer. They've got some other colors as well, but check them out. But the thing about this bait is it will go 3 to 4 feet. This is a little bit deeper bait, so you've got to know your depths, and you'll see your depths, and you can work it by the speed that you pull it to get it down to 3 or 4 feet, and then it suspends. And then the slower you pull it, the higher this thing will come back to you. But it does suspend, and you can kill it in front of fish and entice the fish with it, and it's got a nice higher pitched rattle in it. So I use that when the grass line's a little bit deeper. When the grass line's a little higher, I go to the Quake 80, the 6th Sense Quake 80, and I'm typically using a bluegill because I like to fish this one around grass. And this one will go 2 to 3 feet, so it's a little bit bigger bait. They've got a great paint jobs and a lot of great colors in the 6th Sense bait. And so I will kill this thing when I'm fishing in grass, and I need it to go a little bit shallower yet. But both of these baits are must-haves in your tackle box for a different shape, a different profile. That lipless crankbait vibe that you get with a lipless crankbait really gets some great rattle action and some great vibration action. And then to be able to kill this thing and have it suspend right in front of the fish is invaluable. And so a lot of the times that's why people are using jerk baits, because they've never had a bait that suspends and kills right in front of their face like this. So get the benefits of the vibrating lipless crankbait, all while getting the benefits of that suspension so that you can see the fish. You can either see the bed, kill it over the bed, or you can see the fish coming out of the grass and kill it over the grass. Whereas if you're trying to throw a regular lipless crankbait in grass, you're constantly ripping it free from the grass. And while that gets bites, if the grass is high enough and the water's shallow enough, it's almost unusable, and you end up going to a different bait because you're hung up all the time. You're continually ripping it out of the grass. This thing will tick the tops of it, and you get that ripping action only a few times in the cast, where it can be really activate a fish if they're following. If you're constantly ripping, that might annoy a fish or it might spook a fish off, whereas if it's only happening twice in a cast because you're in the tops of it, they'll track it and eat this bait a lot of times better. So 2 great baits. Again, I'm a Suspending Vibe 70 and the 6 Sense Quake 80 are great baits to have in your arsenal for the springtime when the fish are shallow and you're fishing over grass or you're fishing around beds and you need something to get skinny and something that you can still use with your forward-facing electronics. It isn't just falling to the bottom. It's actually fishing in front of fish that might be tracking it that you can see, so you know what kind of action to impart on them to elicit that strike. And you'll get bit when others won't, so check them out. Thanks for checking back. I hope you found this tip helpful. Get these baits in your arsenal. You'll be glad you did. Please like and subscribe, and we'll talk to you next time on the water.